So with this fall 23 anime season in full swing, there's bound to be a lot of shows we're all anticipating, but there's also shows that surprisingly get recommended, and for me, Shy, this new superhero show that's going to be airing on Mondays here, was one of the shows that I really didn't pay too much attention to, but I had quite a few people almost beg me to say, please cover it, I want to hear your thoughts on it. And leaving this first episode after watching it, I can definitely say that I can see why a show like this could be a lot of people's even most enjoyable show of this season. There is a presentation about it. There's a personality that comes off of this, and you really don't compare it to other shows. Like, you can take pieces of it and say, oh, this reminds me of later stuff in My Hero Academia, but at the end of the day, Shy does feel like Shy. It came out feeling like something that, honestly, I might have watched even 10 years ago when getting into anime, something that would just casually, not a lot of people watching, but, actually turned out to be one of the more interesting shows. And for me personally, I don't find myself leaving hyped or saying this is my most anticipated of the season, but I do leave this episode feeling honestly like I need to do this anime a service and recommend it to people, because ultimately, in a season that is as packed as this current one, there is a lot of heavy hitters, of big names that everyone knows about, and a ton of good stuff that is going to sweep the discussion charts. This is a show that probably won't get a lot of buzz, and probably won't get a lot of discussion unless it's a very big episode. But I do think anyone who has any interest in superheroes, social anxiety, and a unique take on something that we do see a lot of, but maybe not as much anymore with anime, you gotta give Shy a shot, because what we have in this first episode is a girl named Shy. She is, well, not to anyone's surprise, rather shy. She definitely has social issues. She's only been a superhero for a couple of months, a few months, something like that. She is Japan's superhero. We get introduced to Russia's superhero at one point, and ultimately, she's so new to the job, she's so petrified to do anything, but she has a job to do. And ultimately, we get to see a couple of moments that are quite interesting. The first of which isn't the worst thing ever. So basically, a roller coaster gets stuck basically hanging upside down, and she jumps up there, saves all the passengers minus one. Things kind of go wrong, not really because of her, but obviously, a superhero's got to save everyone, and then she's like, oh, what if I was stronger? What if I was faster? Ultimately, the girl pretty much gets knocked out cold because of the whiplash of the thing falling down, and she gets blamed. She gets ridiculed because why couldn't she do more? And because of that, she stops being able to transform. And then by the end of the episode, there's a big fire, and she ultimately gets into the building after finally being able to transform after almost this psychological lockout. And there's a dead mother and her baby, and basically it's a very intense situation, but she was able to save the baby. Unfortunately, the mom kind of does look like got tossed away. Whether they were able to revive her with CPR after or not, she can't save everyone. That's something that she's going to have to learn and grow about. But it's interesting because this show, it does have a lot of humor, does have a lot of fluffiness, especially with her kind of mannerisms, with her shy behavior. But it's surprising how good they actually went into Shy's character about feeling like an outcast and feeling like the weight of the world on her shoulders, but almost feeling like she doesn't want to have that way because she's not good enough. Almost this self-hatred and believing all the criticisms online. And I think anyone who wants something different this season, something that isn't an isekai, something that isn't this typical fantasy hero story. No, you have a very interesting take on a superhero dynamic. And while I leave this episode saying it was fun and I'll probably keep watching it over on my Patreon anyway, I doubt I'm going to do more videos on YouTube just because I probably won't have a lot to say and I'm not going to force myself to make videos. I do think this is good enough that I want to recommend it because I think for a lot of people this could be a sleeper hit for them, something that actually brings them a lot of joy. It airs on a Monday, not a lot of things really do, so I think for a lot of people you might get a kick out of this and I wanted to recommend it. Now, I do have a full live reaction episode 1 over on my Patreon. I'll probably be covering the majority, if not all of this season over there. I don't know, if I stop enjoying it, I'm not going to force myself to watch it, but as it stands, I do want to watch episode 2, so that's over there if you're interested. Like I said, probably no more videos on the channel after this one, just because I want to do recommendation. I don't do these often. Usually it's like, oh, like I'm jumping out of my chair because this is the craziest anime I've seen, but no, for me it's like I know a show like this could get buried, and I honestly think for a lot of people this could be what they're looking for. Something that, maybe for the people who are getting a little more burnt out on the same type of shows over and over, and then in comes a show like Shy that kind of has this moe blob, kind of cutesy energy at times, and then has this intensity, but at the same time, it's interesting watching a show where you have all this pressure, different countries with their own unique superheroes, and they're seemingly can jump around. I mean, Russia popped up a couple of different times, right? But at the same time, someone who feels like, she's 14 or something like that, she has to go to school, do all this, probably has issues interacting with just general people in her normal day-to-day life, throw on that costume, and now she has to figure out how she can save everyone. And it's cool how they went about some of the superhero moments. Like, you have your typical just jumping quickly up there, grabbing onto the roller coaster, saving the people, jumping down. But then you get a couple of cool moments, like with the thrusters on her back in order to like soften the landing, or, you know, redirect after being propelled out of a fiery explosion of a building. And overall, I kind of found myself just liking how they were handling the social anxiety aspects, but the general mannerisms of Shy as a character, I think, is going to be one of the things that keeps a lot of people just entertained from one scene to the other. Like, when she gets thrown into the space station and we meet the Empress of basically this whole thing, like, hey, world peace is here. Ultimately, you know, yeah, everything's all as well that ends well, but there's going to be a big-ass threat, pretty much setting up the apocalypse, and we need all the heroes of the world to be ready. And she's pretty much just like, honestly, she didn't have bones in her body. She was kind of very wiggly and wobbly, and it was cute. It was fun. There is some fun mannerisms. But honestly, the best part was definitely the emotional sides of things, especially when she felt like a failure, because these are always, I really like in superhero stories, but also it always infuriates me. You know, the idea that if she wasn't there, that roller coaster would have just, everyone would have died. Like, they would have fell headfirst and they would have died. It would have broke, right? And the idea that, yes, maybe if she was faster, that never would have happened, right? All of them would have been fine before it kind of snapped and did its thing. But at the same time, she helped so much, and it's like, without getting, not even a pat on the back, just criticisms like, why didn't she do more? She's supposed to be our hero. Like, it's just, it pisses you off, and then to see her just unable to transform after that, just performance issues, really, just, it's pain, it really is. And I think the way they could blend that more intensity negative emotions in an episode that's a majority filled with kind of cute antics, and, you know, like the first moment we see of Shy in her superhero outfit is her trying to give a speech in front of, I don't know, 20 people. There's not a lot of people there, but she's stuttering, she's stammering, and she just doesn't know what to do. And I like what they ended up doing with the sibling dynamic. So the sister ended up in the hospital because of basically being just whiplash effect from a fallen roller coaster. But then the brother just like is like dressing up like Shy, trying to say like, I need to be inspired just like Shy, and then ultimately that's kind of what kickstarts her to be able to transform, which honestly pretty badass magical girl transformation explosion, only to have her just kind of being like, oh god, did anyone see that? Just almost feeling like she's always like internally cringing, but honestly it wasn't as cringy as she's making it out to be. But that's kind of the brilliance about people who have self-confidence issues. It's always a bigger deal in their head versus how most people will see it. And that's kind of the charm of a show like this. I do think this will be a fun one to watch. I expect there's going to be some pretty crazy moments throughout this show, but at the end of the day, I think it has a very interesting style it's working for, and I do feel like it sticks out as its own anime style without trying to just be insert this anime, insert that anime. It may not be my personal favorite thing I've watched so far this season, and potentially I may not even finish it depending on how I feel about the show going forward. But I do want to say, I think this show is worth checking out, and I think for a lot of people, I will understand if they truly enjoy it and just rave about it, because it is so different, and that's why I wanted to make this recommendation. So I say, should you watch the new anime Shy? I think it is worth trying, and honestly, if you see anything here that catches your interest, you're probably going to be in for a great time. So let me know what you thought if you did check out episode 1, if you know the source here, or if you're brand new to the show. What did you think, and are you going to keep on watching? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel, and like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction to episode 1, and I'm going to be covering at least episode 2, if not more, over there as well if you're interested. And hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Gaming G08, Ulyss Mendoza, Zell Mado, Christian Thomas, and Michael Robertson. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.